Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Cut the Chase Sports Podcast. We bring unique insight and analysis behind your favorite teams at the collegiate and professional levels. I'm your host, Chase Shantz. Over to my right, we got Matt Ricketts. We still can't see his face, but it's not a big deal. What's the deal with you, Matt?
What's up, man? I'm excited to talk about some NFL playoff football here. Ready to rock and roll.
Let's do it, man. I'm ready for it too. Down on the bottom, we got Brady kind of switching spots here. What's up with you, Brady?
I just found out I thought we were talking about bowling this episode, so I just found out I didn't know we were talking about football, so I'll have to change my.
Gotcha.
I had a whole notes of bowling stats and stuff to talk about,
Yeah.
but I'd rather talk. I didn't want to anyway, so I'm excited to talk about some good topics and talk about this weekend's playoff games for the NFC.
Yeah, let's do it. I mean, I thought, we'll talk some NHL. There's stuff that we always talk about on this podcast. We'll do some of that another time. But yeah, man, the NFC playoffs. Very excited to see what shakes from it. We got 3 good games. This weekend. We're not going to waste a whole lot of time. We're going to jump right into the first game that kicks off Super Wildcard Weekend. The Seahawks are taking on the 49ers. You got a rubber match right here between these teams. The Niners took the season series 2-0. They swept them pretty handily in both games, but this should definitely be a fun matchup. The Seahawks have had a pretty improbable story this season to make the playoffs after trading Russell Wilson, getting all these picks and everything. So, this is pretty interesting matchup. But first thing, what's the first thing you think of when it comes to the 2022 San Francisco 49ers? They've obviously had a couple quarterbacks go down. They've had Brock Purdy step in there. They've had a lot of injuries here and there, but they're getting healthier and guys just stepping up and producing. What do you guys think? When it comes to the 49ers?
I would definitely say defense for sure. They seem like they are always playing very aggressive, and they really have one of the best defenses there is for sure. With the aggressive style they play, Nick Bosa is probably winning Defensive Player of the Year. Fred Warner, great linebacker back there, and just their overall scheme is really good on defense. So I feel like they're a fun defense to watch.
Matt, what about you?
I would say overall, I think they're probably the most talented roster in the league, the best roster in the league, top to bottom. I mean, you look at all the skill position players on offense, Debo, and then obviously the acquisition of McCaffrey during the season was huge for them. And then obviously George Kittle and other guys they have. But Brady already really touched on the defense. I mean, at the top of the league, Nick Bosa's been the best pass rusher in the league this year. So, just top to bottom, I think they have the best roster in the league. It's just, can that quarterback do enough to get them over the hump? I guess we're going to find out here the next few weeks.
Most definitely. Brock Purdy's came in and played very well. He's 5-0 as a starter in the league. That's, I think he's on a very short list of winning your first 5 career starts. Both of the other 2 actually being Steelers quarterbacks. Ben Roethlisberger back in 2004. The other guy, I forget his name, but it's a very short list of quarterbacks, in good company right there. He's thrown for 1,374 yards, 13 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, has the highest passer rating of anybody in the league since the point he started, which was week 14. So over the last month or so, they've protected him very well. He's playing efficient. He's in a great system under Kyle Shanahan. They're able to run the ball so well. They have a host of guys that are back there running the football. McCaffrey is alive. You got George Kittle. The man's been revitalized. The last 2 years, I believe he caught like a total of 7 or 8 touchdowns. He has this year has 12 receiving touchdowns. Actually, 11 receiving touchdowns. Excuse me. So George Kittle has seen a bigger light coming with Brock Purdy as a starting quarterback, and also for the 49ers, really they've had a really productive season. They're the hottest team in the NFL right now. There's a couple teams that, have been on some big win streaks. But the Niners have the longest one right now. I believe they're at a 9-game winning streak. So they have not lost since Christian McCaffrey became a San Francisco 49er. In this matchup, you have the second place Seattle Seahawks, who I don't think anybody thought that they would get to this point and, take over where, the Rams or the Cardinals, 2 playoff teams from last year, didn't think that they would fall off this hard. But we look at it. Geno Smith, he's led a remarkable playoff push. How does he make an expedition through the postseason? Is there any possible way that, they can make this game interesting? Is there any possible way that they could even win this game? Because it is hard to beat a team 3 times in one season, and the Niners have already won 2 of those games. What do you think, Matt?
I don't foresee them having a very long playoff expedition, I guess, if you will. But I will say I do think if their offensive line is very bad, but if they can hold up a little bit against that Nick Bosa and that really talented San Francisco pass rush, that gives Geno time to get the ball out to his weapons on offense. So I guess a way that I could see a massive upset here is if the offensive line for Seattle plays the best game they played all year, and Geno's able to go sit back and have time in the pocket and be able to pick them apart a little bit. But other than that, I don't really foresee a successful route, if you will, for the Seahawks and Geno to be successful this weekend.
That's true. And, Pete Carroll even mentioned it in a press conference that, hey, we're in the playoffs, and I'm very glad we're in the playoffs. We have a very young team. But we got stuck with the Niners. He's obviously valuing that this opponent is very, very good. They're in the division. They obviously won 13 games for a reason. Overall, the Seahawks, this is a good point. Seahawks are playing with house money. They're a very young football team. They are kids on the field. You see that every year. There's at least one team that it's very young that makes the playoffs. And the thing is, with some of those playoff teams, they don't know what they don't know, but at least they'll get some type of experience in the playoffs, playing with that house money. Brady, what are your thoughts on Geno Smith's season this year? The bounce back that he's made. He hasn't been a real starter since 2014 with the Jets, and really have that opening shot, and take this entire season and make the playoffs. He didn't write back, and they're in the playoffs. What do you think of Geno Smith this season?
Yeah, I definitely think it's funny. He's a huge upgrade from Russell Wilson. What he's been especially last year and then this year for the Broncos. I'm not gonna act like he's one of the top 5 or maybe even 10 quarterbacks, but he absolutely is a starter level player and a very good addition to their team. Well, not addition, but new starter to replace their guy, Russell Wilson. He's outplaying him. I believe he broke their passing record yards wise or something. Definitely had a great season. And he's also is leading them. It seems like better. He's better in the locker room than Russ. Not that Russ was a bad dude or anything. He just does some weird things that make people, make his teammates annoyed with him. So I feel like he's just overall better for their team, and it's clearly showed this year throughout every game.
Most definitely. They've, like I said, the different change of the guard and leadership, it seemed like it's worked out well. Geno Smith, people do forget he is in, his younger to mid-30s. He's been in the league for quite a while, so he's been around a couple teams. He's seen some guys, some other quarterbacks that have had that veteran leadership as well. He took some things from Russell Wilson, but obviously didn't take the other things of. Everyone knows about he has his own. You can't even contact him, but that's a different story for a different time. Has to go through some secretary agent, blah blah blah. But yeah, just Geno Smith has done a really good job of really rallying those troops and just balling out this season. And you look up, they're in the playoffs, and there's. Hey, why not? We're here. We can go in and try to give it our all and everything. So, very good story for the Seattle Seahawks so far this season, and we'll see what happens this season. How about key player or matchup to watch out for. It doesn't have it could be either or, it could be both. Brady, who's a key player or matchup that you're looking for in this game Saturday?
So Charles Cross, I believe, starts right for the Seahawks, the rookie. If he gets lined up with Bosa, I'm interested to see if he's able to do anything against him or see what that test will be like for a rookie especially. That's going to be a key for especially the Seahawks to win this game, is to be able to contain Bosa with a rookie if need be.
Yeah, that's exactly.
what, think about it.
Brady took mine actually, so I'm just going to go ahead and say it. Thanks a lot, Brady.
Yeah,
it wasn't Cross, but it was just in general. This San Francisco's defensive line versus Seattle's offensive line. I touched on it earlier at the beginning of the segment, but I think that's going to be, if the Seahawks want to have any success at all, they got to be able to protect Geno Smith. So I think Nick Bosa and the rest of the San Francisco defensive line versus the Seattle offensive line is the biggest thing to watch in this game.
Most definitely. I mean, the Niners' front four is going to give them so much pressure. And the thing is, they don't have to use a front seven to win a game. They can just use the front four guys, the DNs and interior defensive linemen, to just go after a team and win like that. And you think about it, you talk about there's levels to this. Their D-line's so dominant. Their linebacker tandem is incredible. And then their secondary has feasted off all the stuff that they've been able to, all the havoc they've been able to cause up front, which is why my matchup to watch goes to the second unit right there. I think Seahawks running back Kenneth Walker's at 1,050 yards and 9 touchdowns. I think, obviously they're going to have to protect Geno Smith to have any chance at winning this game. But when you look at Kenneth Walker's stats against the Seahawks against the Niners this season, the first time, 4 carries, 10 yards. And the second time, which was about a month ago, 12 carries for 47 yards. They've bottled him up. The linebackers have done a very good job. They're going to, try to be able to, take him out of the backfield, stuff him at the line of scrimmage up front. And it's going to be really critical for Seattle to, even try to get a run game to, take some pressure off of Geno Smith, take some pressure off the offensive line when it comes to pass blocking. But Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw, man, those dudes fly around. And, I mean, that's just what makes that San Francisco defense up front just such a tight unit and collective unit right there. And I definitely agree with the Charles Cross pick right there because, I mean, Nick Bosa's coming. He's coming after you. 18.5 sacks, I believe. Defensive Player of the Year. All the stuff that goes with it. So, but yeah,
he's coming on him. He's coming for him for sure.
That's a way to put it. Yeah, he's definitely coming for him. So yeah, take that how you want. But yeah, let's get a pick here. Seahawks Niners. Who is winning this game and moving on? I'll start with Matt.
San Francisco's going to win this game 23-10.
Okay. Little defensive battle right there. Brady, what's your pick?
Definitely not what Matt said. I'm going to go San Francisco 27-13. So almost what Matt said. I just wanted to be mean.
I like the beef between you guys. It's very funny. I'm going to go on ahead and say San Francisco will win 24-10. And I think Seattle will somewhat keep it close at the start of the game. First half will be pretty interesting. I think San Francisco is going to really overall just wear them out on the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball, running the football and rushing the passer. So we all agree clean sweep here for San Francisco to win and move on and host another playoff game. The next game on the NFC slate, number 6 Giants taking on the number 3 Vikings. This is a really interesting game to look at. A lot of people are looking at the Giants of, this is a really good matchup for the New York Giants defensively. Let's just start with their season. 9-7-1. I still remember talking about the amount of shit I talked about the Giants on like literally one episode that, I still will never forget about. I thought they were horrible. I thought they were trash. They're 9-7-1. They're in the playoffs for a reason. I don't know what exact reason it is, which kind of leads to the question, what exactly makes the Giants a playoff football team? And I'll start with Brady.
Honestly, it's hard to even gauge because they shouldn't. It just doesn't seem like they should be. But I mean, I'm going to have to give coaching the credit for that, just due to the fact that and he's newer, and I believe he's probably going to win. I don't know. Did they give out Coach of the Year yet?
Not yet. They will at the NFL honors in
Okay.
February. Yep.
Okay, yeah. But I do believe that he probably will win that based off the overachieving they've done. So I think coaching's a big part of that. With Dabble, I'm not sure how you pronounce it.
Dable. Yes.
But also getting Saquon back healthy. He's been better this year, even though he kind of slowed down a little bit, but he started out fast. And their defense has played fairly well, it seemed like, throughout the year. Like,
yep.
I mean, Daniel Jones is nothing special, but he also hasn't had a terrible year by any means. And Kenny Galladay finally caught a touchdown pass for them, which is, crazy that it took that long. But, do I think they're a great team? Absolutely not. But do I give them credit where credit is due? Why not?
Yep. That's the only thing you can really do with that. I mean, the Giants with Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones, like I said, he hasn't had a bad year. Obviously, nothing special. 3,200 yards. He's completed 67% of his passes, 15 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. And he's ran for 708 yards and 7 touchdowns. So, I mean, just to give them another threat to run the football, especially on short down situations, third down, tuck it and run.
Yep.
He hasn't turned the ball over a whole lot this year, like except 5 interceptions, and hasn't lost any fumbles. So he's playing clean, safe football. The defense is playing fantastic this season. They have 41 sacks on the year. Matt, can you pinpoint anything that makes the Giants a playoff football team? What do you think?
Their head coach makes them a playoff football team. That's 100% factual. I would say Daniel Jones has surprisingly played well for the majority of the year, or good enough to get him in the playoffs at least. I thought he was a total shitbag before the season. I thought he was going to be done by Thanksgiving. Like, they were going to bench his ass, and the Giants were going to be in the run for C.J. Stroud and Bryce Young and whoever coming out. Hopefully C.J. Stroud doesn't declare, by the way. That's a sidebar. But anyways, I think Daniel Jones' productive play, the return of Saquon Barkley, obviously one of the most talented players in the league when he's healthy and playing at his best. And then their head coach, Daboll's done a great job this year. So I would say a combination of those three things would be my answer to that question.
Yeah, and you look at it, the Giants, they play a lot of old school football. They run the ball really well. They average 148.2 rushing yards a game, throw for just barely over 200 yards, tip of the iceberg right there. And, they sack the quarterback 41 times this season. They've, had only 6 interceptions on defense. They get fumble recoveries and all. They've actually forced 22 fumbles this season and recovered 13 of them. So they've done a pretty good job. They're very opportunistic defense. They're an offense that doesn't turn the ball over. They rely on, obviously one of the most talented players in Saquon Barkley, 1,312 yards, 10 touchdown runs this season. Done a lot out of the backfield as well. Receivers, you look at Darius Slayton, 724 yards and 2 touchdowns. Richie James, 569 and 4 touchdowns. They don't have a lot of receivers that are really going to blow you out of the water with their leading receiver just being under 750 yards. But, they're just some guys that'll, step up and be like, get 40 or 50 yards a game here and there, just sprinkle it in. Guys can just step in, plug and play, and just do their job. That's really what it is. And just, kind of rely on Saquon Barkley to plays and Daniel Jones to not turn the football over and the defense to go out there and suffocate you. Now the Vikings. How can the Vikings – well, I'll get to the question in just a second, but think about it. The Vikings are 13-4. They won their division. They have been tagged as probably one of the worst division winners or one of the worst 13-win teams of all time, actually. I believe they are like 12-1 and close in one-score games this season. Literally all their games have been that, and they've won almost every single one of them. Not to mention that these two teams played each other on Christmas Eve. And the Vikings blew a 17-point lead and narrowly escaped by the skin of their teeth with the Christmas miracle hitting a 61-yard field goal by Greg Joseph. So this game was played very close just a couple weeks ago. And the Vikings, they came back and created the biggest NFL comeback in history. Their point differential was actually horrid. They have a negative point differential this season because of how bad of losses that they've taken. Obviously, the Packers 2 weeks ago, they got absolutely. I mean, you could fill in the blank on any word you want to say, any explicit word. I could give a shit. They got just fucking bamboozled by the Cowboys. I mean, just stuff like that. Their losses, when they lose, it's horrible. When they win, yes, railed. I mean, when their losses are absolutely horrific, terrifying, whatever you want to call it. Their wins are narrow, the slightest of margins. But let me ask you guys this. I'll go with Matt first. How can the Vikings get out of their own way? They're a talented football team, but they just keep getting in their own way, and they just keep playing these close games, which they have been winning. But how do they get out of their own way, Matt?
How do they get out of their own way? Take care of football, number one. If Kirk Cousins comes out and plays his A game, I think the Vikings can compete with anybody in the league. Compete. They can't. I don't think they can beat anybody in the league, but I think they can play with anybody in the league. But the shitty part about the Vikings is they can also lose to anybody in the league on any given day. So
that's true.
How do they get out of their own way? Take care of the football, and Kirk Cousins play well. That's how they get out of their own way. Okay, they got the best receiver in the league this year. I mean, that's my answer.
All right, Brady, how do you couple with that?
I think they need to make sure to play their game, meaning get Justin Jefferson the ball and design plays to get him open if he's like getting double teamed or whatnot. Because against the Packers, he had one catch or something? I think he had one catch for 15 yards.
One for 15. Yeah.
One catch for 15 yards. That's just not going to do it. I mean, especially knowing that he has been the best receiver this year in the entire league. I don't know how you don't get him the ball more than that. And to win the playoff games, he's going to have to be the focal point of their offense, while also using him to get other people open too. Because if they are going to double team him, great. Run people off and let other people get underneath, like Adam Thielen, Hawkinson at tight end. Get those guys the ball if that's going to happen. So you got to play a productive game of offensive ball here.
Yeah, these are fantastic points. I mean, you look at it. I've never seen. Oh, I'm not going to say I've never seen, but it's it's up there. I've never seen a team rely on a receiver this much in the modern era than the Vikings rely on Justin Jefferson. 184 targets this year. He's caught 128 passes. 1,809 yards, I believe that leads the NFL in receiving yards. 8 touchdowns, and he also leads the league with 28 big plays in 17 games. That is 2 big plays a game. He has 8 touchdowns in 17 games.
That shocks me. I feel like he's had more than that. I don't know why. I mean, the yards is what matters more, but still.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. But I mean, I think they have a lot of distribution when it comes to touchdowns. They have him with 8 touchdowns. Adam Thielen has 6. KJ Osborne has 5. Hawkinson 3. So it's kind of a wide range when it comes to that. That's when Adam Thielen becomes a target in the red zone. Like you said, you kind of play guys off like that.
Yeah.
Adam Thielen, 6 touchdowns this season, only has 716 yards. KJ Osborne, 650 yards and 5 touchdowns. TJ Hawkinson came over from the Lions, which is a really weird in-division trade. 519 yards and 3 touchdowns. He's been a very nice piece. And he was he had a very good game against the Giants a couple weeks ago. So definitely should see a good amount of TJ Hawkinson. Dalvin Cook as well. A lot of people don't talk about him as much anymore because of the fact that Kevin O'Connell, they're in a passing system. A lot of Kirk Cousins, 1 p.m. Kirk Cousins. This game is not at 1 p.m. So let's, the Vikings fans, keep your fingers crossed for that. Dalvin Cook, 1,173 rushing yards and 8 touchdowns. He's been a factor in the passing game, catching 39 balls just for under 300 yards and 2 touchdowns. So they just got to be able to spread the football around. But I mean, they have to go through Justin Jefferson to get everybody else involved, which is why, and why we're transitioning to the key player or matchup you guys want to watch out for. Matt, what's a key player or matchup that you are looking for Sunday at 4:30?
Oh, holy shit. I'm going to say, you know what? I'm going to say Justin Jefferson and the Giants secondary. I don't really have a key matchup in this game, to be honest with you. So I'm just going to pick the best player versus the Giants secondary. There you go.
Yeah. I mean, it's gonna take an entire village to take down Justin Jefferson. It's not the Giants don't have a Jair Alexander, they don't have Jalen Ramsey fraud, but yeah, I mean, they don't have a number one corner that's just gonna be able to stick there and shut. It's got to be a group effort. Brady, what about you?
I actually think it's Kirk Cousins versus the Giants secondary.
Wow.
I think Justin Jefferson will be fine. I don't think there's much that can stop him from, being just doing his job against the Giants secondary. But I do think Kirk, can he get him the ball? Can he make the right decisions is more of what I'm looking for here with the Giants with this game. Can they confuse Kirk Cousins? And will he be able to withstand throwing the ball to the other team? Is what I have to say.
Yep. Yeah, most definitely. And my matchup I'm looking at is the Giants pass rush versus the Vikings offensive line. I know that was really the matchup that we looked at when it came to the Niners and Seahawks, but looking at the Giants, they don't have any guys that really blow you away in the sack category like the Vikings do. The Vikings have two guys that have over 10 sacks. With they have Daniil Hunter over there. And also have, I believe it is Zadarius Smith, who they got over from the Packers. The Giants, if you look at the Giants, 41 sacks this season. They apply pressure on quarterbacks. They get guys, a lot of corner blitzes. Zion Gilbert, he had 5.5 sacks. Dexter Lawrence has been fantastic this season. Leonard Williams as well. Nick McLeod, Jason Pinnock. I mean, they bring down Julian Love. They do a lot of different scheme blitzes from Wink Martindale, who's one of the best defensive coordinators and one of the most unique defensive coordinators in the National Football League. So this is going to be interesting to see how they kind of play and tool around with Kirk Cousins. The Vikings offensive line, they have given up 46 sacks this season. Kirk has taken 46 sacks. He has a sub-95 passer rating. And he's not playing at 1:00. So I'm a little concerned when it comes to that point. But, like said, if Kirk Cousins has the time and he's able to, kind of, be able to depict this defense and some of the schemes that they try to run, that the Giants will mix up and stuff, then I think he's going to have a good day. What's your guys' pick for this? I will start with, who did I start last time with? I think I started with Brady last time. No, I didn't start with Brady. I'll go with Brady right now. Who's your pick for this game on Sunday?
I'm going to pick the Vikings in this one. I think they're going to play a good game. I'm going to go, I'll go 31-26.
All right, little high-scoring game. Matt, what's yours?
Vikings 20, Giants 17 in overtime.
Ooh, all right. So we'll have a little extra football finish right there. I'm gonna go on ahead and say the Vikings will lose this game. I think the Giants are gonna come out. I think the Giants are gonna win this game, score 19-14. I think the Giants are gonna, I think they're gonna get their revenge as one, but I think it's gonna, they're gonna kick a lot of field goals. But I think they're gonna fool with Kirk Cousins a bit, and I think Kirk Cousins will take the fool's gold, and it'll end up biting the Vikings in the ass. And I think a lot of stuff will be proven right there. The Giants, if the Giants had any matchup throughout the playoffs to get a win, this is the game. And I think that they will take advantage of it. And Brian Daboll will again be etched as the greatest big guy in New York since Biggie. It's still, I'm still rolling with it. I'm actually on the Giants train for once. I cannot believe I'm saying this, but I have Giants winning 19-14. The last game for the NFC, we have Monday Night Football playoff matchup. And my gosh, this is a, You talk about the Cowboys. You talk about America's team taking on Tom Brady, the GOAT. I mean, on Monday Night Football, ESPN, ABC, 8:15 on Monday. Wow. I mean, this is a loaded matchup. There's gonna be a lot that goes into this. I mean, just the fact that it literally is a playoff game on its own separate day is just going to bring the intensity for this and just increase the hype. So the first question that I have right here, which actually I'll get into in a second, you look at Dak Prescott. Prescott has ended the season on a pretty sour note, I'd say. He leads the league in interceptions with 15, throwing 23 to 15. So he ended on a pretty sour note. The Cowboys' pass rush is good. Their run game is good. Tony Pollard's the leading rusher. Zeke still with 12 touchdowns this season. So the Cowboys have a very unique makeup and old school look for their team. Tampa Bay Buccaneers still relying on Tom Brady. He's kind of gotten hot recently.
Yep.
This is the playoffs. This is where he makes his money. My question to you guys is this. I'll go with Matt first. Does Tom Brady have enough around him to get the job done on Monday night?
I think he has enough around him to get the job done.
All right.
But that doesn't necessarily mean I think he will.
Exactly. Don't foreshadow picks, but yes. Okay. All right. That's good. That's good to hear. All right, Brady. What about you? What does Tom Brady have enough to get the job done on Monday night?
I think he does. I think he's got plenty around him for sure. I think if he loses, it's not necessarily his teammates' fault. But also, I'm not going to act like it's like all his fault either. Maybe his teammates screw him. I don't know. But I have a feeling that if Tom Brady can click, if Tom Brady can motivate his team, then they're going to be able to catch the ball, I feel like, and stay focused because, seems like he's been able to really get them ready to play in these playoff games, obviously, throughout his career. So I definitely think he has the pieces.
Most definitely. I mean, this is obviously Tom Brady in the playoffs is a different animal. This season, it looks as though people are like, oh, he's had a drop off, this and that. They're 8-9. This is his first losing season of his career. 4,694 passing yards, 25 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. Tom's turned up a notch, these last couple of weeks or so. So obviously playing at a very high level. He has 35 overall playoff wins in his career, which is just unbelievable. I mean, it's shattering records left and right and raising a very high bar for the future quarterbacks. Their run defense, not the run defense, their run game on offense is absolutely atrocious. They average 77 yards a game on the ground and completely rely on Tom Brady to do all the magic at 45 years old. Mike Evans at receiver, 1,124 yards, 6 touchdowns. I believe this is his 9th year in the league and his 9,000-yard season. So Mike Evans, a Hall of Famer? Ooh, I don't know. That's a very good thing. That's a very good question right there. Chris Godwin, 1,023 yards off the ACL injury, 3 touchdowns for him. Mike Evans averaging 14.6 yards a catch. Chris Godwin averaging 9.8 yards a catch. They just use a lot of different guys in there, in their receiving core. Just overall, it's a very interesting team. I think what you were saying, Brady, is like, they don't want to blame his teammates, or maybe part of it falls on him. I think a lot of it's going to fall on the coaching. I think Byron Leftwich has done an absolutely atrocious job as the Bucs offensive coordinator this year. I give him a D. I give him a D minus. All right, we're over here sitting like armchair quarterbacks and shit like that, but I give him a D minus. I think he's done an absolutely horrible job this season, and somehow they're in the playoffs. Todd Bowles, had a good year as a head coach with the Jets in 2015. I don't think Todd Bowles has done a very good job. I give him like a C minus or so. I don't think he's done that well. Somehow they're in the playoffs. Actually, that somehow is because the NFC South is a literal burning bag of shit that someone's just holding over a trash can. So waiting for that to just flame over. All right, the Cowboys. They're 12-5. They look better with Cooper Rush than they did with Dak Prescott for a minute. Their first game of the season, the Cowboys did play the Bucs on Sunday Night Football, and the Bucs won 19-3. The Cowboys could not do a thing. Dak Prescott got hurt. Tom Brady, you kind of saw some age kind of come into it, but at the same time, they were able to kind of get their offense going and score some points. Micah Parsons was a huge impact. Had the only 2 sacks of the game. But for the Cowboys, Brady, I'm going to ask you this first. What's been the biggest disruptor of the Cowboys as of late? Because they've looked like absolute dog shit lately.
Yeah. Honestly would say Dak Prescott's not been playing very well. And that's definitely a problem because a lot of this offense is centered around him, obviously being the guy and being their, quarterback of the – well, I mean, right now is the future. Like, ever since he was drafted, he was known to be the guy, and they needed him to make these plays to be able to win games. They're very reliant on him. So he's got to play good. He's got to play better, not turn the ball over. Like you said, there's a lot of picks this year. So he's got to take care of the ball a lot better than he has. And they've got to continue to keep their running backs involved as well, obviously. With Pollard, use him a little bit in their run. Use him in both because he can catch the ball too. He's a shifty dude, and I'll also use him to try to get him in open space in the run game and all that. And then you got Zeke in your short yardage situations, or not, just get as many yards as you can, and pass it out. So they've got the nice system going on back there. So if they can just effectively get the ball to their playmakers. It's that simple. Which it's a lot easier to talk about than it actually is to do it. But a lot of that is just on Dak Prescott for sure.
Yep, I'd agree with that. Matt, what about you? What's been the Cowboys' biggest disruptor, and what can they do to fix it?
I think Dak taking care of the ball is clearly, obviously, one of the top, problems they've had. But also, especially Micah Parsons, he's played fine lately. He hasn't been as dominant as he was previously throughout the season and towards the tail end of last year as well. So I think if he can get back to he is a superstar. Like, he's a monster. Yeah. But if he could play at that superstar level more consistently, it just makes the team so much more dangerous. I mean, he's one of the top 5 to 10 defensive players in the league when he's at his peak. So, I mean, if he can get back and play at his superstar level and Dak can take care of the ball in this game, I think they're going to be just fine.
Yeah, I agree. I think, great point by Brady talking about Dak Prescott taking care of the ball and just trying to get the ball to the playmakers. And yeah, that's a very good take on your part, Matt. When it comes to Micah Parsons, he's played well. Just need him to play more of that superstar role, overall, because if he's playing at an unbelievable clip and all that, guys like DeMarcus Lawrence and other guys on their front are just going to have an absolute heyday. And it's like the Cowboys defense has been dominant all year. It's just that, they've been good recently. They just haven't been dominant like they have been most of the season. So if they're able to return to that, then I think, things will turn in the Cowboys' favor. Key player or matchup to look out for on Monday night. I'll start with you, Matt.
Micah Parsons versus the offensive line for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. There's no secret that Tom Brady hasn't been great throughout his career when he's rushed heavily. I mean, obviously, every quarterback doesn't want to be rushed, but he obviously doesn't move very well, so it makes it even harder for him, for the GOAT. So I think if Micah Parsons and the rest of – not just Micah really, but I'm just kind of circling Micah as the leader of that defensive line, pass rush type deal. If the Cowboys can get pressure on Brady, it's going to make life hell for him. So that's kind of my – key matchup.
Yep, these are 2 of the least sacked quarterbacks in the National Football League. Prescott's only been sacked 20 times, and sacked. Brady's been sacked 22 times, and the Cowboys have provided the most pressure and most sacks in the National Football League with 54 sacks, 13 and a half of them coming from Micah Parsons. Brady, what about you?
I'm going to go Tom Brady versus Trayvon Diggs. Can he make him do stupid things and, like, try to jump a pass that he's not even throwing? Can he use his eyes to make Trayvon Diggs not – let me try to put this in a normal way – to make Trayvon Diggs undisciplined and get beat? Because he is – there's times where he's one of the worst corners in the NFL due to the fact that he's really trying to get interceptions, and it's quite clear. Like, it's impressive to get as many interceptions as he got, but at what cost? Because I remember the Patriots game, he got a really nice pick, and then the very next drive, Mac Jones threw an 80-yard touchdown pass because he was being undisciplined. So he's just staring at the QB constantly, trying to see where he's going to throw it, and he's not worried enough about the actual receiver. So I think if Mike Evans or whoever, honestly, can get past him even a bit, and Brady can throw it over top, he's beat. So you just gotta make him undisciplined. That's actually a really good way to attack the Cowboys. Is attack Trayvon Diggs, in my opinion.
Most definitely. That's a good point right there. At first I was going to look at the matchup of Mike Evans and Trayvon Diggs, but that's actually a really good point. Tom Brady, the mind of a 45-year-old quarterback, the GOAT, being able to, really move him around with his eyes, move him around with the movements in the pocket, which really aren't a whole lot with Tom Brady being, basically the age of a statue in a museum. But, Tom Brady still being able to still throw a football down the field, still being able to, hit guys in stride, hopefully for him on Monday night. But yeah, just kind of playing some mind games with Trayvon Diggs and trying to, get him to take that bait and then take a shot over top, or get him to, bite inside, and then there's a, route going to the sideline and all. My look, this isn't a matchup. This is necessarily, it's a player versus unit matchup. CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb has had a fantastic season for the Dallas Cowboys this year. 107 catches, 1,359 receiving yards, and 9 touchdowns. And he's up in the top 5 in big plays with 24 big plays this season. When I'm looking at this Bucs secondary, they've had a lot of injuries. They've gotten some guys back overall, but I kind of want to see some of the matchups when it comes to when it comes to CeeDee Lamb versus Carlton Davis III, really aggressive corner. Take back a couple weeks, he played Jamar Chase really well, played him aggressively. They kind of let him play. They're going to let these guys play a lot more in the playoffs. So Carlton Davis III, his physicality off the line of scrimmage with CeeDee Lamb, and see if CeeDee Lamb's going to be physical or see if he's going to be more of a finesse guy. They put him in the slot, see what Jamel Dean does. Jamel Dean is, held it down the slide. He's been a good tackler and all, but he's going to have to cover, Trayvon Diggs. Not Trayvon Diggs, sorry. Trayvon Diggs used to play receiver, blah, 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 But CeeDee Lamb, he's going to have to cover CeeDee Lamb and see, how he does there on the slot. There's just going to be a rotation of guys. Logan Ryan at safety if he comes down and walks as a nickel corner in the box. Antoine Winfield, they're going to have to see what goes on there. There's a lot of different guys that they're going to have to rotate and try to put on CeeDee Lamb. If he moves around, they move him around and, on the outside, the slot, even the backfield, who knows? But it's going to be a unit effort to try to take CeeDee Lamb away, because if CeeDee Lamb is taken away, the Cowboys are one-dimensional. If they take or limit the Cowboys' one-dimensional run game, then, this is going to be a stalemate of a match, which is how we're going to get into our picks. Brady, who are you picking in this? Cowboys, Bucs.
I think I'm going to go with the Cowboys here. I think Tom Brady might actually hang it up after this season. Finally, I don't know, but he might. And this might be his last game. So I'm definitely going to go with the Cowboys. I think Dak plays a good game. I think that Tom Brady struggles, actually. I think the Cowboys defense plays good. And I ultimately think they end up winning this one, but I think it's going to be low scoring, actually. I'm going to go with a final score of 14-10.
Wow. All right. So some big time defensive playoff football right there. All right. Matt, what about you?
The Cowboys have not won a road playoff game since 1992. But that streak is going to end this week. I'm taking the Cowboys. How about them Cowboys, baby? 28 to 10. They blow out GOAT at home. How about them Cowboys?
All right. Yeehaw up in here. Okay. Cowboys looking good right now. See, here's the thing. When I look at both of these teams, like, you know, the Bucs is just like, oh, they're so groggy. They're, you know, they haven't come to life yet, but they have Tom Brady. The Cowboys, they're a lively football team. They can do it in a couple of different ways. You know, their quarterback's been playing a little carefree, but they're a multidimensional football team. But it's the Cowboys. So it's kind of like, you know, the stigma that, okay, Tom Brady's the greatest quarterback to ever live, the most Super Bowls and most playoff wins. The Cowboys are the biggest franchise, you know, in the National Football League and some even in the world when it comes to, you know, how much they're worth. But they just lose playoff games. Yep. Are the Cowboys going to lose this playoff game on Monday night? I don't think so. I got 24-20 Cowboys. I think they're going to move on and play the San Francisco 49ers next weekend. And you're going to, and ironically, Matt, the last time the Cowboys won that playoff game was in 1992 NFC title game. Jimmy Johnson at Candlestick Park against the Niners. They're going to be going to San Francisco next week and playing the Niners, and we'll talk about that next week and all. So the NFC playoffs, I'm going to ask you guys this final question. I'm going to get the playoff bracket up right here. We'll talk AFC tomorrow and release that. Who is going to the Super Bowl out of the NFC? Matt.
Fly, Eagles, fly. I've been on that bandwagon all season long. Want to fly to the finish line, baby. Here they come, baby. Philadelphia.
All right. Brady, who is going to the Super Bowl from the NFC?
San Francisco is going to the Super Bowl. Yeah. You can do whatever you want.
Oh, man.
I don't care.
Man. You're gonna put me as the decider on this one. It's either the Eagles, it's either the Niners. I'm gonna say I'm gonna roll with Matt. I think the Eagles are gonna make the Super Bowl. I think they're gonna bounce back. I think Hurts is not gonna be hurt when they make it to the big game. I think the Niners and Eagles will play in the NFC Championship. I think it'll be a fantastic game. But I just don't think Brock Purdy's gonna be able to get over that hump. But this is some of the best quarterback play Kyle Shanahan's had in a long time, actually probably in his tenure as the Niners head coach. You can plug and play any quarterback there. So I expect the Eagles to get there, but I expect a fantastic NFC championship between the Eagles and the Niners. Any final thoughts before we get out of here and talk AFC football tomorrow?
I don't think I have any necessarily. I think we've hit on it.
All right. What, tomorrow, boys, you're going to get some interesting stuff coming from me. We got the mighty Bengals playing Sunday Night Football.
Oh.
I'm ready to talk about it tomorrow.
Got that right, man. Man, I'm excited for it. I'll tell you that. I was going to go to the game. Still might. We'll see what happens with it. So I mean, we'll talk a lot of AFC football tomorrow. I mean, those playoffs are going to be a complete movie. So, yeah, stay tuned for our picks with the AFC tomorrow. This was NFC Wildcard Weekend Preview for 2023. I'm Chase Yance. That's Matt Ricketts, Brady King. We'll see you guys next episode with the AFC football playoff breakdown. See ya.